and welcome back to episode 10 of the Geeky Dads podcast. Unfortunately, this week Craig's not with us, but I am joined back again, Mike Shelshire.
Hello.
And here, as always, is Chris Moss.
Yeah, just the staple now, aren't I?
You are.
Sweet.
That's what we love about you. Just like, well, I suppose we better start off with a bit of sad news. Like this, yesterday, we woke up to the news that Ivan Reitman had passed away. And our first episode was well.
Do we actually know what he died from?
Just said died in his sleep. So I don't know if he's just ill or just sudden.
Elderly.
Yeah. He was 75. He wasn't that not old these days.
No, it's not really, is it?
No, it's not much of an age. But you didn't look 75. You looked like what?
No,
like
he didn't.
50s, like early to mid 60s.
He looked good for his age, didn't he? So, like,
there
must have been some complications behind it.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
I suppose it'll come out eventually, but yeah, it was really sad. And I believe he was going to be starting. He was just started work on the new the twin sequel as well, Triplets.
Really?
Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'd heard about it. I mean,
I thought you were joking then.
I'm not. No, they're actually we meant to be like filming it this year.
And has like thingy, what's his name? What's his name now? Dude from Taxi.
DeVito.
Yeah. Is he like signed off on it as well?
Yeah, so he signed off on it.
Oh my god! How old is DeVito now? Like, he must be getting old.
Like a bajillion years old.
He looks ancient and
he looked old. He looked old in Taxi.
Yeah,
and that was like the 70s.
Yeah, where he was actually like 21.
Yeah,
he's just got like a super old face.
To be fair, I think the youngest he looked was in Batman Returns when he was like covered in makeup with the Penguin.
Yeah, hide all his wrinkles.
I didn't realize he produced Animal House. It was one of my favorite films.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, brilliant, amazing film. I absolutely love it. What else? Kindergarten Cop, Stripes.
Stripes is fantastic.
Stripes, yeah.
I did know he did Stripes, to be fair.
Yeah, Stripes. Oh,
because that was sort of like the Stripes was the precursor to Ghostbusters, really, wasn't it? It's where he sort of like he got his like credibility.
Yeah.
But yeah, such a like just a brilliant director. I mean, he's got these two kids. His two kids are really like big heavyweights. Now his son Jason Reitman,
knew how to sort of like do real and comedy at the same time really well. Sort of like making it sort of like a good story, but also like not killing it with too much comedy, but like still being able to put comedy in there.
Yeah. I think he saw the comedy potential for Schwarzenegger as well. I mean, he did excel at like high concept, like Ghostbusters, where it was a high concept, so it was a comedy, but it was a high concept because it was like fantasy and a bit of horror. Like, he might have mixed in perfectly. Keeping
it all sort of like grounded, but slotting that comedy in there is like quite a difficult thing to do.
Yeah. Where it's not a daft, like sigly comedy, but
in 1983, roommates Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird were mucking around one night doodling. When Laird drew a picture of a turtle stood upright, wearing a bandana and nunchucks taped to its front legs, he simply called it the Teenage Mutant. Taking some inspiration from Marvel's Daredevil, Uncanny X-Men, and DC's Teen Titans, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were born. Little did they know that this would lead to a franchise spanning almost 40 years and still going strong today. 4 animated TV shows, 1 live-action TV show, 6 movies, a concert tour that was sponsored by Pizza Hut, and countless video games. These heroes in a half shell have been part of our generations of childhoods. So this is all about this week, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I remember being in the United States in 1988. It was still Ghostbusters was still really big over here. Yeah. And my mum took me to Toys R Us. First time I've ever been in one. I think the one in Warrington only opened a few weeks after I got back from America. And we was going through the aisles looking for Ghostbusters toys, and I looked up, and it's this massive big display. It was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I thought to myself, what the hell are these things? Oh, these aren't going to take off. anyway, come back from America, and a few months later, there's like this cartoon that was on, CBB, the Brewing Cupboard on Children's BBC, and it was just mind blowing. I absolutely loved it, and I became obsessed with it. And
can I just add something to your little intro there? So like that when Eastman designed with Peter Laird, they didn't have enough money to have this thing produced, so Eastman had to go to his uncle and ask for money to so they could produce this comic.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. He begged his uncle for money. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it was £3,000. Or $3,000, I should say. That they got together to do a limited run of 3,000 issues, and that it became so popular that they ended up creating their own studio, which was called Mirage, which is an inside joke basically because they didn't have a studio. It was basically them working out their flat.
It was just a Mirage. And Mirage became a freaking huge studio at one point.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, there's so many documentaries about the Turtles. I mean, the main one I watched was The Toys That Made Us on Netflix.
Yeah, I watched that as well.
And
so good.
They had a big falling out years ago as well, didn't they? And because I think Peter Laird didn't want to have anything to do with them anymore, so he sold all his sold all his control over to Eastman. And I think he ended up selling up to Viacom, who owned Nickelodeon, and it was for millions and millions and millions, wasn't it? And I think he just got left out in the cold a little bit, but I think they brought him in. Nickelodeon brought him in as a consultant, but they reunited for that episode of Toys That Made Us, and the friends again now. I think they've made the new comic together called the Last Ronin.
All right, okay.
Yeah, so that was really good. But let's start with the cartoon series. So I watched the original miniseries, the first 5-episode run. Now I don't remember seeing this on CBBC. I just remember it starting from from the second series onwards.
I think I watched it on Sky One. I think when Sky One was sort of first sort of airing, and they had that free thing, didn't they, in Liverpool of you can get Sky, but you can have Sky One for a while just to test it out. And I used to go to my nan's of a weekend, and it used to be on there on the the Saturday morning show.
Yeah, that's what Dawn was talking about that earlier, because she asked if we'd got that, and I don't remember having Sky One.
We didn't have it either, but there was in Belle Vale in Liverpool, they had they gave it out for free. For a year. And it came out literally that year, and it was on every Saturday morning. So I'd stay at my nan's on a Saturday morning, and I'd sit and watch the Turtles.
Yeah,
it was actually. I remember this because my auntie had it. But there was two at the time, wasn't it? When it launched, there was Sky and there was BSB, and Turtles was on BSB. It
was on Sky One as well. Honestly, it was.
I think what happened was because BSB didn't last for long, so it eventually got took over. So when they made together, it went whoever was on BSB went on to Sky One. So that's probably
right. Yeah, so it was probably a little bit later.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. There you go. That makes sense.
But I remember. I think what I strongly remember from it was the actually condensed. So the 5 episodes into a 45-minute short video, a VHS was released called How It All Began. And it was just basically Splinter, as a frame into a Splinter memory, and the Ninja Turtles.
And we all it wasn't Ninja Turtles. It was Hero Turtles.
It was Hero Turtles over here, wasn't it? Because they didn't like the violent connotations of calling something.
It was so heavily edited as well. I don't know if you guys have seen the side by side cuts, but
I have.
They edited out the nunchucks. They edited out half the scenes, anything graphic, and they reused scenes, so you'd see the scene twice. Since the film. Nice. It was ridiculous.
I did notice that Michael, nunchucks were always banned. So anything with nunchucks in, just BBC would cut it out. I remember watching that side by side. And when
it wasn't BBC. It wasn't BBC. It was the BBFC. So like literally you weren't allowed to show on any channel in the UK.
No.
So there was no Ninja Turtles on any UK channels. It was Hero Turtles, and he couldn't show nunchucks, so that was all cut out. So Michelangelo just looked like he was just a skateboard and pizza eating guy.
Yeah,
he didn't really do any fighting.
But what they did was, from the 4th season onwards, they actually phased out the nunchucks for the TV show and replaced it with a turtle line.
Yeah, they gave him like They did that with a computer game as well. I don't know if you guys ever played Soul Calibur.
Yes.
So
I've never played that.
When Soul Calibur came out in the UK, there was a character with nunchucks. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But they made it into a 3-point staff just to get around it. It was exactly the same, except the chain was made into another piece of wood. Yeah. That's how they got around it. It was so fucking ridiculous.
It is,
it's like just as damaging to you.
Exactly. It's not the chain; it's the fact he's clonking you around the head with big sticks, big heavy sticks. So,
like, maybe they were like, "Oh, you can't possibly choke somebody with it." Yes, I think you can.
Yeah.
Challenge accepted. What I also noticed about the cartoon is that what the creators did. Was he replaced the foot soldiers with actual robots? So when they was actually doing violence, and when he was actually, hitting robots, not humans.
Yeah.
What else did I write down as well? I made quite a few notes. Did anybody else notice about the pizza? About the pizza toppings that they enjoyed? I've actually
they had like the nastiest pizza toppings in the world, didn't they? Like,
so it was
no, there was never anchovies because Michelangelo didn't anchovies.
I was about to say he hated anchovies.
Anchovies, but he would literally eat banana and
jelly and
and
French fries and mud and uranium.
I think about too much uranium. From the first episode, I've actually got the toppings that they had. So they had pepperoni and ice cream.
Nice.
Jelly beans and mushroom.
I sat and watched the
jelly beans and shrimp.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Peanut butter and anchovy. Peanut butter and anchovies.
Yeah.
Right. Nice.
And to be fair, that's still better than pineapple and ham.
I like pineapple and ham. Leave it alone.
I don't. No.
So the first episode was called Turtle Tracks, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd watched it before, and it took me back, and I was like, yeah. And do you know what? I remember watching this. It was really good.
Nice.
Yeah. It just was. I think I also got a bit confused. Like you said, the second episode was called Enter Shredder, but you see him in the first epised. It probably would have been better if you actually just.
I genuinely could not find that. As much as I looked, I could not find that.
I found it dead easy. Yeah, got it on DVD.
I was all over YouTube and I literally found the first episode. I had to watch that 5 parts. Stop.
I'll see that what was it? And we all know who played Shredder, don't we?
What in the cartoon?
Yeah.
Yes. Jim Cummings.
No, it was.
No, it wasn't. It was, but it was James Avery as well.
Yeah, James Avery.
Yeah, James Avery for the vast majority of it, but Jim Cummings also played Shredder.
Oh, and who became a producer on The Big Bang Theory?
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Which leads me on to my next fact. Do you know who co-wrote the theme tune?
I did not know this.
No idea.
It was let me just get it up. So I can get his name right. It was Chuck Lorre.
Chuck Lorre, really? Oh.
Yeah, he co-wrote. They they asked him to make the TV show, but he didn't want to do. He was trying to branch into sitcoms, so they recommended somebody else instead.
All right, okay.
Well, that's awesome.
It comes to the actors as well. You got Townsend Coleman, who was the original voice of Michelangelo, and he's more famous now for playing the Tick.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
Okay, and then you got Rob
in the cartoon, not the TV show.
Yeah,
obviously that's Peter Serafinowicz.
We all know he played him in the TV show.
Yeah, world famous Scouser.
Yeah,
Darth Maul
awesome
himself.
fucking show, by the way.
Yeah, it is. Rob Paulson played Raphael. Now he went on to voice Pinky from Pinky and the Brain, and eventually he went full circle and voiced Donatello in the 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles TV series.
He did. Hey, Brain, what are we going to do tonight?
Everything we do every Pinky tried to take over the world.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so Cam Clark played Leonardo, and he went on to voice Canada in Akira, and then he followed that up with he's done an awful lot of
he played Canada.
He played Canada in the American.
Wow! Yeah, in the English dub.
Yeah, and he also played Liquid Snake.
Sorry, I'm a massive fucking Akira fan.
And he ended up he portrayed the voice of Liquid Snake in Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2.
Yes.
Well known. So.
Good voice actor then.
Very good.
Voice. Yeah. Good as fuck.
And I think, have anybody ever read any of the original comics?
No,
I've not. I really want to though. I might download on a couple on Comixology because I wouldn't mind reading through them. And I don't know. Did you guys use Comixology?
I do until Amazon bought it or what have you, and
it still works really well.
Yeah, but it was a pain in the backside because I enjoyed having the fact that I could buy the comics and did that a lot. I remember getting quite a few things that I'd never heard of before. I know this is going into slightly kind of different territory sort of thing.
No, it's fine. That's what it's about.
But getting stuff that I'd never heard of, was Witchblade one of them, and
Witchblade was so good.
Yeah, Witchblade.
I read the original comics.
Oh, did you? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And then something about like an Alice in Wonderland sort of style thing, but it was really dark.
Was it American McGee's Alice?
I don't know.
Is that a video game?
Right.
It was, but it was also a comic.
Yeah, remind me later on in the episode to because I'll re-download the app now and I'll check and see what it was. But yeah, I never read the comics, so I mean, my first introduction with Turtles, because this is the thing when growing up, because we were all super young when Turtles came out.
Yeah, I was 6.
If I'd say about 8, eight.
Yeah, I mean. So when it came, especially with the cartoon, because the cartoon was 87.
I was definitely. I know there's a picture of me on my 6th birthday party wearing a Turtles t-shirt. So Turtles. It was definitely out then.
Yeah. So we were probably about 5 or 6 sort of thing, but yet I'm sure I was still aware of stuff like He-Man and Transformers and Star Wars. I mean, obviously, a lot of these things. I don't think, for example, I hadn't seen the Star Wars films at that point. Obviously, when I was 5, but I knew the toys, and so, you were aware of these characters.
It was more that, it was more the toys, wasn't it? And
exactly.
these sort of I agree with that completely.
So you were aware of these characters
and the merchandise.
Exactly, but Turtles I always remember Turtles as being these characters that appeared that were brand new, if you see what I mean. We were growing up, even though we were still very, very young, but stuff like Transformers and He-Man and Star Wars, all that sort of stuff seemed to just like already be there as we grew up. Like, whereas Turtles was new. The Turtles were these characters.
It sort of came out of nowhere, didn't it?
Yeah, it started when we were at the age to recognize that it had just started. If you see what I mean, even though we were still very very young. Now I never had any of the toys, but I had friends who did, and I had one friend, and I actually got into trouble because I crossed. There's like a main road, like on the opposite side of the block that my house was on. And I crossed that road to go to my friend's house to play with his because he had turtle figures, and then I got shouted at for crossing this main.
I'm nodding away like crazy at the moment. Like,
the thing is,
genuinely,
now,
I didn't have any of the toys
like
either.
A main road. It's just like, but it wasn't like just a residential street.
You were so young though. Like so like like I genuinely had a friend that lived across the street from me, but I was allowed to go over because it was a closed street. I would go over to his, and he had the turtle van. He had all of the turtles, and he had loads of wrestling figures as well. And he had a wrestling ring, and we used to do turtle versus wrestlers matches.
Oh, nice!
I did that.
It was so much fun.
Sure, it wasn't me.
Oh, sorry? No, it wasn't.
Sure,
Isn't it? No. I remember the guy's name. His name was John Woods.
Oh, it definitely wasn't me.
No, not your name.
It's because it's not you.
It's not me.
I distinctly remember them appearing in Woolworths one magical Saturday and coming home with a Raphael figure, even though my favourite colour was red. But Leo was my favourite turtle, but the first one I got was Raphael. I had a few of them, I think, but yeah, that was it. I remember now. So that I think, say it must have been about August I got the Raphael. Then a couple of weeks later, my grandma bought me. It was just they had loads of mad accessories. I remember that. We never had the turtle band.
I think I had one of them. I think I had Michelangelo. I think someone bought it as like a birthday gift because obviously. Michelangelo, they were like, he's into turtles. I'll buy it.
Right, okay.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, well, the same. I see what an uncle did. Don't worry, it wasn't Uncle Dave.
But yeah, I think they had like mad accessories. Like there was this. I remember having this one as a parachute. It must have only been a couple of quid. I remember.
Michelangelo came with a piece of pizza.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it genuinely did.
Oh, do you remember the blimp though?
I always wanted the blimp.
Yes.
See, I never had the blimp.
I know I can't remember which friend it was, but I did know someone who had the blimp, and like I always think back and think like, well, did that ever pop? Like, did that ever burst? And then what did people do when it did? Because it must have done. It was basically a balloon.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was basically a piece of plastic attached to a balloon.
Yeah, so there's no way in hell that didn't burst. So
it must after about a week. I reckon.
Yeah, probably.
Kids do not like handle toys well.
So I think I was at a car boot sale in Runcorn. This probably must have been just before I started high school, or I was in still in primary school at the very top. I remember going to a car boot sale at Runcorn, Linnets football ground, and somebody was selling a turtle blimp with the balloon still up.
Fully working. Oh my god!
Wow. I was back into Star Wars then, or it's still into wrestling.
I bet you wish you bought that.
Of course I did, yeah. I mean, like I said, I didn't have the turtle band, but I did have the pizza thrower. So it's like a tank with this little like mechanism on top.
Oh yeah.
I had that. I had the turtle. It was all kinds of mad stuff. Like I had a little like skateboard. I had a thing on a fan on the back. I had a motorcycle. It was all turtle themed. What else was it? I think I eventually got all the like main figures. Well, my mum got me a couple of bootlegs off the market in Liverpool, and it would look genuine. You couldn't tell them apart except for the fact that it used to fall apart dead easily.
Yeah.
They're like combined with crash test dummies.
Yeah. And my auntie brought over loads of the figures from America when she went over there, and I had like all these figures that I'd never even heard of before, like the samurai rabbit and a pilot
yeah.
and the robot turtle. I had like them. I had Krang as well. Didn't have the big robot he came in though. But yeah, I had lots of the figures.
I think one of my friends had like had Krang and it came out. Like you could take Krang out and like.
The little brain.
I'm having full on flashbacks at the moment.
But yeah. I think the Krang I had, it was like in this little robot, and it just sat in it. It wasn't a big robot, you know what I mean? That was in the
he had the Witness Market version.
No, it was just the one that it's like the accessory he came with.
It just looked like a ball bag with eyes.
Right. Speaking of this, I do feel I have to mention this. When Tommy was around about 3 or 4, he was mad on turtles. Michelangelo was his favorite.
Right.
Anyway, he used to have a bath with me because he wouldn't get in the bath on his own. So
his favorite wasn't Michelangelo. Everyone's favorite was Michelangelo.
Was it?
Oh man, Leonardo.
No, come on,
like
Michelangelo.
You would.
Yeah.
I like the comedy dude, I suppose. Okay, I guess not
then. Anyway, so we're in the bath, and Tommy sees me testicles, and he goes, "Dad, you got a crank between your legs," and that's what I was called after that. He said, "Dad, I can see you." I was asking.
Thank you. Just like literally, I've just spat beer on myself.
So when I was getting ready to do the episode, I mentioned it to him. So Tommy, do you remember you used to call my balls Krang? And he went, "No." So, yeah, he said, he said, "Dad, you're Krang."
He said, "I am not admitting to that, mate."
That's fucking brilliant. That tickled me.
Honestly, I was just so glad he didn't get back cranes to try and draw a face on them.
Oh fucking hell! Oh Jesus Christ! Well, I was going to chime in there. Like when I was about 12 years old, my parents decided to buy me terrapins. To look after, and he got me a massive tank to look after these terrapins. And I got 2 terrapins, and I named them Michelangelo and Raphael.
Yeah,
they were my 2 favorites. Michelangelo was my first favorite. Raphael was my second, because Raphael was the stern sort of like, very sort of like heavy-headed one, and then Michelangelo was just loose and just the funny dude.
Yeah. He was a bit of an arse, Raph. I thought.
Raph, yeah,
especially in the film, he definitely was.
Oh, definitely.
Well,
yeah.
Well, in the film
in a bit, but
I've got so many issues with that original film.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
I have a lot of issues with that original film. But like, so I got these 2 terrapins at the age of 12. What you don't realize with terrapins, they live for 30 years.
I did not realize
here now.
They lived in our pond for about 12 years. Well, because they get big eventually. Yeah. So then you need to give them a bigger space. So we had a massive pond luckily we had a massive pond in the garden.
Yeah.
And we got transferred into there. And eventually we had to like donate them to like literally to a place that looks after terrapins, like an animal shelter, because they got so big we couldn't look after them anymore. And we couldn't keep you couldn't keep fish because they just fucking eat the fish, all of the fish in the pond. And
this is amazing.
They were brilliant. Like, I loved them to bits, but like no, we had to give them away eventually. They got like a lot of people got them in the 80s and just released them. Do you remember Walton Gardens? The pond was absolutely filled with terrapins.
That does seem familiar, actually.
Right, they were absolutely filled with terrapins because terrapins don't come from this country.
No,
but they're like the most sort of like very, very good hunters, and they're very sort of like well hidden. And they will take down baby ducks. They will take down fish. They will eat. They will literally destroy a river system.
Yeah.
Because they're not from this country and nothing really has any defense against them. So they literally start taking over and they just like populate an entire, like, if you put them in a pond, they will take over the entire pond.
Yeah.
So I think in Walton Gardens they removed every single one of the terrapins, and they're no longer there anymore. But I don't know what they did to them though, because like there was hundreds in that pond. They can't have like just relocated them. Like, it's sad to think, but they must have like
euthanized them.
Yeah, they must have done, because there's no way you could have like relocated that many terrapins.
No.
Or sent them over to witness and so they could be mutated into an army of Teenage Mutant Ninja Terrapins.
Apparently, there's a fair few in the canal at the moment. A few
Really?
people like because I'm like friends with a few people who fish and have taken pictures of terrapins in the canal.
Wow.
But the canal's probably a good place for them, to be fair, because the fish are big enough that they haven't really they can't like harm them. So they've got small fish to go against, but the big fish. Yeah, so I think maybe that's not actually a bad place for them.
Oh, intriguing. I can't even get the words out. Intriguing.
Intriguing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much for the information on the Runcorn's ecosystem, Michael.
Oh, well, and terrapins. Like, don't buy terrapins unless you've got 30 years to live with them and a huge area to put them in.
Oh, what was that? That just reminds me of a story. I think my dad was looking at just a little bit more of a sidebar, talking about like animal lifespans. My dad was looking after a neighbour's parrot a few years ago, probably around about 6-7 years ago. And anyway,
was it like an African grey?
It was, yeah, and it'd talk, it'd go, hello. Anyway, my dad used to play his banjo, and the parrot would, join in, start singing and dancing. Anyway, I came home from work one day, and he's on the laptop, and I said, what are you doing? So I said, I'm just looking for a parrot. I might get a parrot. And he said, do you know what, he lived for 70 years? And I said, Dad, no offense, don't buy the fucking parrot, because I'll end up looking after it when you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Good job he did, because he died the next year. So I would have been stuck with it straight away. But yeah, you got. I think you got, when you buy an animal, make sure the lifespans.
Yeah, we had a cockatiel as well. We had a cockatiel. Again, they only live for about 30 years, but like it's a long commitment, and that got given away as well. But do you know what the fucked up thing about that was? I love this parrot, this cockatiel so much. It was called Magic. After, remember, Timmy Mallet had a cockatiel called Magic.
Nice.
I remember having a cockatiel.
I remember
it was called Magic.
Yeah,
and we had a cockatiel as well, and it was called Magic as well.
Nice.
Because we begged for it, and we had it for about 6 or 7 years. And my mum gave it away. And do you know what she said to us? Like, because we were like, where's Magic gone? She told us it died. Because it was easier than telling us that she gave it to a friend. Like, it's normally the opposite way round. Oh, it's gone to a farm, or it's gone to a friend. No, it died. And it didn't. I wasn't like till like 5 years later that my parents said to me, no, we gave it to your dad's friend. It was like, what the fuck? I fucking mourned over that thing.
So has your mum paying for your therapy?
That's weird.
Yeah,
that is dark. That is dark.
I don't like that, Michael's mum and dad. I don't like it. I'll be honest. I don't like it.
I'm going to make them listen to this recording.
Yeah. Sorry, Mike's
this is dark.
I don't like that.
That was dark. It's twisted. I absolutely love it, but the other part of me thinks it's absolutely reprehensible.
Fucking terrible.
Dark.
Shocking.
Right. So should we talk about the movie then?
Yes,
Speaking of dark,
the 1989 movie.
Was it 89 or was it 90? Because I remember.
Was it 90? No, it was 1990, wasn't it?
Yeah, 1990. Because I remember coming home from
90.
school one day, and my dad being dead excited. What happened was my grandma would look after me after I finished work. I finished school. Then my dad would pick me up on the way home, and he came to pick me up, dead excited. So I got a film to watch, and I went, "What film?" It's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I said, "You what?" I didn't even know there was a film out. He said, "Yeah, I've got it on copy." And I remember going home, dead excited, and watching it. And it was a bootleg, obviously. I think the film didn't come out till the Christmas of that year. I remember going to see it in cinemas anyway. But
I think we used to all get bootleg.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was such. I'm you know what? I'll say it now. I'm a big fan of the original film. Watching it now as an adult, I didn't. There's parts of it I didn't appreciate as a kid, but now I appreciate it a lot more as an adult.
I loved it when I was a kid. I genuinely did. But rewatching it recently, I have issues with it. And that's more my adult brain than my like as a kid, I thought it was brilliant. I have issues with the fact that all of the turtles all seem to be like Michelangelo. They all seem to be like party did like fucking
Really?
There's a scene in it where Donatello's skateboarding, and it's like, what the fuck? Like that's Michelangelo's thing. It is so it's so mixed, and it seems to take from the idea of the comic books and the cartoon, but
the cartoon came. Well, oh no, the cartoon was.
Cartoon came before, yeah.
And cartoon came before the film, but I'd say the film was more leaning towards the
comics.
More leaning to comics, yeah. I'm going to respectfully disagree with your portrayal. I mean, I think Leonardo was still portrayed as the sensible one. Michelangelo was still the party animal.
No, you watch it at the beginning of that film. They all seem very partyish. They're all very sort of like party, and Raphael does seem to be the loner. That is quite well portrayed in the film. But the other guys, they seem to all to be very like Michelangelo and very sort of like party orientated.
They are a bit, yeah. I know what he means. I think it's a bit of a weird one. I think actually there are parts of the film where they are fairly interchangeable.
Yeah.
I think, which is a bit of a shame. There are definitely.
I'm not trying to take away from the film in any way, because the film was brilliant, and the animatronics in that film were fucking amazing.
Oh god, Jim Henson.
Yeah.
Jim. In fact, it was the last film he worked on before he died.
It was, yeah. The second film was dedicated to him. But I think he did say about the film was he didn't like how dark it was.
No, he didn't.
This is coming from the man who made Dark Crystal. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Like Jesus Christ, that film's fucked up. But it's it was good, and don't get me wrong. But do you know one thing I did notice? Now when you watch it with the HD version, on some scenes you can actually see the guy's head inside the costume.
Oh, you can see the eyes sticking through the eyes.
You literally see people's faces inside, but you couldn't see that originally because it was so blurred. But now when you watch it, it's like that's a dude.
It was.
I did read one thing where apparently the original stuntman for Raphael got clocked in the face. Raph gets hit in the face by Casey Jones actually. But he got hit so hard they actually broke the stuntman's nose, broke his face inside the animatronic head.
Oh Jesus Christ!
And they actually had to replace him with one of the foot soldier stuntmen. Actually, I think. So it actually ended up being a different stuntman doing the stunts for Raphael.
That's cool as fuck.
So, it's bit mental, isn't it? So
that scene though when he's fighting with Casey Jones is actually really good.
Oh yeah.
That's really well done. And to be fair, like I don't hate the film, and there's just certain aspects of it I disliked that didn't quite fit in with the lore. But other than that, it's a brilliant film. Don't get me wrong; it's so good. The remake that they made for it, I wasn't a massive fan.
No, we'll get to that bit one.
No, okay.
What I was going to say is, does anybody know, like, Splinter? I thought Splinter in that film was brilliant.
Yeah, because that is a proper puppet.
Do you know who voiced him?
No.
Give you a clue.
Oh, was it Elmo?
Elmo knows where you live.
It's so much darker.
You do that. You do this so well, and like it's just.
Well, been tickled on the inside.
It's incredibly disturbing.
I'm disturbed and turned on at the same time.
Kevin Clash.
That's the wrong reaction, Mike. Wrong reaction.
Kevin Clash, who voiced Elmo from from his conception, all the way till like a couple of years ago. He did the voice. I completely shocked me when I found out he was the voice of. He was the puppeteer and the voice. I think he worked partly as puppeteer, but he did the voice of Splinter. Because I wouldn't have put those two together in a million years. And did you know that the first film was like the highest grossing independent film up till, I believe it was 1999 when the Blair Witch Project came out? Yes, it
was. That is
completely
correct.
No film studio would touch it, and I think it got financed eventually by Roger Corman's company, New World Pictures.
Nice.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
what I liked about the film is they actually stuck quite close to the comics in terms of the origins of at least of Splinter anyway, because if you remember in the cartoons, is it Hattori Sanzo?
Hamato Yoshi.
It is. What?
It's Hamato Yoshi.
That's it. Who the hell is Hattori Sanzo then?
It might be Shredder.
No, he's Haruko Saki.
Yeah.
Oh no, Haruko Saki. Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know where the hell you've got that from.
I've just come out with this, but anyway,
it might be some anime that you've watched.
It could be. It could be Magic, because Magic is the new set is all very Japanese stuff as well.
Right,
so
okay.
So possibly.
Don't use the M word. It might trigger Mike.
I like Magic.
No, because of the cockatiel, because of your bird.
Oh right, I thought you was like
the worst. That was the worst attempt at a whiplash from Iron Man 2 accent as possible, but he vaunts his bird.
Speaking of Iron Man 2, you noticed that the actor
moving
quickly
on.
Moving on.
Notice the actor who played Justin.
Oh, Chris.
I'll let you finish.
Yeah. Anyway, no, it sticks quite closely to the origin in that Splinter is actually a rat.
Yeah.
Who copies his master's moves because he's really clever for a rat, and whereas in the comic, it's actually a Japanese guy who basically becomes a giant rat, which is a bit weird because
it is in the cartoon as well. Like in the original 1987 cartoon, it was the he literally is in front of like his. They show you, don't they? He's in front of like his masters, and then like the guy who plays Shredder throws a knife into his robe, and he can't bow in front of him.
Yeah.
And because he can't bow in front of him, he's kicked out of the Foot Clan. So then he leaves and like moves to America to get away from them, and that's the whole sort of like backstory of the cartoon.
Yeah. Whereas in the film and in the comics, Splinter's just a rat who learns.
They don't show you how he became him. Yeah.
So I think they do in the film.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they
I
do.
think,
So
yeah,
it's
they
just
actually, yeah, I think,
he was a rat in the film,
Yeah.
but he just grew like the turtles did.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say, Chris, is just leading on from your Iron Man 2 reference, that Sam Rockwell from Iron Man 2 is actually in the first Turtles film. Plays the head thug in the Fuckland, the one who offers the cigarettes.
Really?
Menthol or regular? Yeah, it was one of his first roles.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. There you go. Little bit of knowledge there for you.
Nice.
But yeah, I was just reading as well, looking at the cast. I mean, Donatello was played by Corey Feldman.
Yes, he is.
And who else? Brian Toshi played Leonardo. Now, has anybody ever seen some of the Police Academy films?
yes, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, you know the third one where they had the Japanese cop who Tomoko Nagata. He's the one who well, that's him.
Oh, this like brings me on to something. But watching the 1987 cartoon, like the first episode, when they went to like show like the sort of like the origins, oh my god, it was so fucking racist. Like
really?
Watch that first episode. It's like when they like showing the Asian guys, they are very sort of like, I don't want to do like impressions because I don't want to seem racist, but it is like heavily racist.
Yeah.
Like you would not be allowed to get away with like doing that now.
You wouldn't. I'm not surprised. Yeah, it's like some of the portrayals, like some of the way they're drawn.
It's not the way they draw, and the way they speak as well. Like it is so bad. And like I was watching it, I was like, I cringed when I watched it. I was like, oh Jesus Christ, that is not allowed. Like, it's, I suppose it was then, but like,
yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, this is it. It's unfortunately a product of the times.
Yeah.
I mean, you see that a lot. You know, God, it's depressing because this is like 30 years ago, and it really doesn't seem like it should be that long ago. But it is.
It just makes us feel old.
But yeah, going back, 30 odd years, and what have you, you did have these sort of caricatures, really, of
absolutely, yeah, and then that's basically what it was. And I don't think they were intending to be racist.
No,
they were just trying to sort of like, but that's what they thought like the caricature of that person or that culture was, and it was. Yeah, it wasn't seen as bad then, and but you watch it now, and it's such a cringe fest.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh my God.
But yeah, it was. I did find it quite uncomfortable viewing. I did notice that quite a lot in the first episode. Okay, so what we'll do is now we'll just move on to the other films. Like there was Turtles 2 released a year later, which seems to be a lot more upbeat. I mean, they did bring in Bebop and Rocksteady, but they brought in what's the name? Toka and Razor. So it was like a snapping turtle, and I think it was I don't know, it was some kind of wolf, wasn't it?
I genuinely cannot remember that film at all.
Is this the second film? I don't actually know if I've watched any film after the first one.
I don't think I have either. No, I don't think I have either. So we're all in your hands now, Ian.
Okay, well I'll just say, I mean, the second one was just a bit more comical. And the third one was just god damn awful. It was just terrible.
We'll skip that one.
Yeah, but I would say an interesting fact that Shredder like becomes like hopped up on like mutagen at the end of the second one, and he's actually the character when he's Super Shredder. He's actually played by Kevin Nash from who was Diesel from the WWF.
Oh, right.
Okay, but I do want to cover the theme tune from the original Turtle films because that was the first single I ever bought, and that was Turtle Power by Partners in Crime.
Oh yeah, it was really good, God, and like I remember that so well. Like, yeah, it was really popular.
It knocked out. This is funnily enough, this is one of my favorite songs of all time now. It's Sacrifice by Elton John, and that song knocked it off number one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I remember sitting in assembly in primary school with sat next to one of my mates, and it must have, I can't remember if it was like a Christmas like thing or if it was anyway, it was some sort of like a disco, like after school disco sort of thing. And they were doing this thing where they wanted people to sing like almost like a karaoke sort of thing. And I was saying to my mates, "Oh, we know the words to Turtle Power. Well, we'll do that." And this is primary school. It took a lot for you to go, make social idiots of yourselves.
Yeah, of course.
So we were like all up for that, and it came to the night of this disco thing, and we got up at the front and what have you to be told that we would be singing "Eye of the Tiger." And we were like, no, no, we want to sing Turtle Power. And apparently, that wasn't the case. So basically, we just literally just loitered at the side. We're like, well, I'm not singing Eye of the Tiger. What a dumb song.
Where's James?
I applaud your sort of like resilience there, because I would have been exactly the same. I'd have been like, no, I'm singing Turtle Power or nothing.
Yeah, well, we didn't get to, unfortunately. I don't know. I don't even know whose idea it was. I'm sure it was another student, sort of thing. I don't get how that kind of came about. But yeah, for some strange reason, we were supposed to sing "Eye of the Tiger," but it's like, nah.
It's a good song, Eye of the Tiger.
Well, this is it.
But when you've got it in your head, in your head as a kid that you're going to be singing Turtle Power, and someone comes into you and goes, "You're singing Eye of the Tiger," you'd be like, "No."
Maybe you just didn't have a copy of it.
We had it on vinyl. This is one of the things that we had. You see, we had a record player. My mum and dad's house is like a terraced house. And they've got a cellar. Like at the front, it goes up steps to like where the garden is, and at the back, it's just an alleyway, and it's just like level. So obviously, you guys know it's quite hilly around this area, and that's the setup. So they've got a cellar. And when we were still quite young, I don't know what was down there before, but they emptied the cellar and turned it into a playroom for us. Which was
that's cool.
And my uncle
lock the kids in the cellar. Yeah.
And my uncle drew or painted. I can't remember if it was mine or our brother's, but one of us had a Transformers lunchbox, and he actually painted the Transformers on the wall for us.
That's amazing.
And everything. And
nice.
It was great. It was really cool. And but we had a record player down the cellar, which again sounds a bit weird. But we did, and we had the Ghostbusters single on vinyl, and we had I'm sure we had the album actually, the Turtles album.
And when we played one of the records backwards, it went.
I don't think we ever did that. But yeah, so it was cool. It was really cool.
Yeah, I broke the needle on my parents' record play on the second day of owning Turtle Power.
I genuinely broke so many needles on my dad's record player. I think that's a normal thing to do as a kid.
Chris, please tell me you played Tiptoe Through the Tulips on vinyl in your parents' cellar.
No, I used to pinch my dad's Supertramp albums. Well, not pinch them, but I used to play Supertramp. And we had a Muppets album as well. And
I used to play Pink Floyd albums. I was obsessed with playing on LP all the time.
Yeah. Well, for some strange reason, somebody bought me Bros on vinyl at one point. Don't ask me why.
Well, just be honest. I like Bros. You like when we like Bros.
So there you go.
You're with friends. You can admit it.
Okay.
Should we quickly move on?
Yes. Swiftly move on.
Thanks very much for listening to this week's episode of the Geeky Dads podcast. Unfortunately, we've got so much to cover on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that we're going to have to take it over to another week. So in episode 11, it'll be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Part 2. This time, hopefully, we'll be joined by Craig. Take care, stay safe, and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you very much. Bye.
Okay, Beastman, I will read the thing. Thank you for listening to the Geeky Dads podcast this week. You can find us on Twitter at the Geeky Dads Pod, Instagram at the Geeky Dads Podcast, Facebook.com/the Geeky Dads Podcast, and even now on YouTube, the Geeky Dads Podcast. What the fuck? We're on everything now. You can even listen and subscribe on Anchor FM, Spotify, Pocket Cast, and even Stitcher. Leave that alone, Beastman! You infernal boob!